Welcome to Total Agent Access, where we interview the most inspiring real estate agents in the world to share with you the best advice from our brightest minds. With your host, me, Colin Bredner. All right, we are back with today. We are going all the way to North Carolina, and we have Adam Noe. Am I pronouncing your last name right?
That is correct as far as I know as well. So, yeah, it is.
Excellent. You should have been a doctor. Then you could call yourself Dr. Noe.
I know. That old James Bond, movie.
I love it. I love James Bond. That's what gets me fired up. So anyways, as we regress right at the beginning here, Adam has a team in North Carolina in Raleigh. But you aren't from Raleigh, are you? You grew up down in Florida?
Correct. So not originally from Raleigh. I got stationed here in 2012 in Fayetteville at Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty. Grew up in Florida most of my life. I was actually born in Illinois, but don't really remember it. Left when I was about 2 or 3 and moved to Orlando.
Wow. Amazing. What drew you to enter into the military?
So getting out of high school, I had thought about, did the whole, hey, I'm going to go to college, did about 2 years, found it really wasn't my thing. Had a lot of family members in law enforcement and thought I was going to do the same thing. Went through, did the police academy in Florida and ended up meeting a ton of people who were, prior service. And I was just so young at the time. They're like, hey, you know what? You should really join the military, get some experience, life experience. Being a younger person, I said, hey, why not? Let's do that. So funny enough, ended up joining, and very funny enough, I think it was probably 8 months before I ended up leaving for the military, I ended up meeting my wife. So, we,
isn't it funny how that can change everything, right?
It is. It didn't stop me from going. But my mom, I think my mom even told me beforehand, she goes, you're going to meet someone, something's going to happen. You're going to, think twice about it, but ended up, joining and leaving. So, yeah.
Wow. So to us up here in Canada, at least to me, I may know 2 people that have been in the military. The military isn't an option that most people go into. Our military course is very small. What branch of the military did you enter into?
I was in the Army from 2012 to 2017. And like you mentioned, I actually got to work with some Canadian soldiers, while I was in as well. They would come down to Fort Bragg and we would do operations with them from time to time. But I was in the Army from 2012 to 2017.
Okay. What do you think you learned in the military that helps you today in your real estate business?
Oh, man. So much resiliency, I guess. Our, day to day as an agent, there's always things being thrown at you. So you kind of got to be able to pivot with it. And figure out problem solve solutions. I wouldn't say, sometimes I feel like my problems are, life or death, but probably nothing close to what you're actually doing in the military. But I always say that the military was the worst mistake that I ever made, because it had its moments of, I don't know how to explain it really. It had its moments, but everything that I've learned getting out, I think it really propelled me into where I'm at now, probably a lot quicker if I hadn't have done it.
Right. I'm sure it helps you grow up very, very quickly.
Oh, for sure. And sometimes you think even because I was 22 when I ended up joining, so I was a little older. Most people come out, from like high school right away, but
right.
I was a little older, but I definitely learned a lot from it. And, you do have to grow up quite quickly. And then getting out, I was 27 when I was going back to school, trying to get my real estate career going. So, I knew I needed to be quick about it, and they didn't really have time to kind of play around. So,
right.
Yeah, definitely makes you grow up a lot quicker.
So why real estate? right after it seems like a very strange transition. Army
It,
into real estate. What drew you to getting into real estate?
so I always had like I was always interested in it, even before joining the army. Just never really looked too much into it, but I kind of told myself like I knew the army wasn't going to be a career for me, and I wanted a job that, depending on how much I put into it, is how much I would get out of it. There's like kind of like no un like there's no like the potential is just it's unlimited for the most part.
Yep.
Whereas when you're in the military, it's like in order to get promoted, you've got to have like certain time, there's a lot of requirements in order for you to kind of go on that next step. So I was kind of looking for something that kind of, gave me my time and like how much I wanted to put into it is how much I was going to get out of it, which I actually really like about it. But then sometimes, that can be somewhat of a bad thing too, because you kind of end up working quite a bit. So, but yeah, that's kind of what drew me to it, honestly.
Yeah, that's to be honest, that's what drew me to it as well. Previously being a chef and working in restaurants in all positions, not just cooking, you were
Right.
always working for somebody. And I really wanted to work for myself and know that what I put into it, what I got out of it was, kind of matched. And nothing's worse than working in a job that has a ceiling, right? No matter how hard you work and how innovative and how much you put into
Mm-hmm.
yourself, there's always that cap. But in other respects, some people really thrive in that environment because they have
Yeah.
certainty with, especially when you have a family and whatnot. So
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, that's definitely something you're a little scared of, or worried about doing. You have so much structure. You have people telling you where to be, what to be doing, and from a day to day. And so many people I feel like have a hard time when they come into real estate because no one's telling them here are the things you need to do in order to I wouldn't say survive, but to yeah, it's quite different.
yeah, and most people come from that background of having a job, and they think that it's just going to be like that. And your broker or your
Yeah,
brokerage is going to basically treat you like an employee, and you're going to go out there and do business that the brokerage has given you. But unfortunately, it is not like that. You're
yeah,
basically day one. Here's your office. Here's your telephone. Do X, Y, and Z. And if you
right,
need help, give me a shout. Right?
exactly.
It's
Figure it out on
it's
your own.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you overcome that at the very beginning, and start off and get going with your career?
Yeah, so a lot of work and grinding, honestly. So getting out, I was working on my real estate license at the same time. So by the time I got out in 2017, I was already licensed, already working for someone. But I kind of knew, like, I already knew that being commission based, like, I got to do something else as well. And I also owed it to myself, to get my degree. So I'm not sure if it's the same in Canada, but here, it's something called a GI Bill, where basically you've earned amount of time that you can go to school, and the military will pay for your housing. So you kind of have some financial backing while you're going to school. So while I was working on my degree, I was also getting my real estate license up and going. And then also, I was even working part time at a gym as well. So I was really working kind of like three jobs. I remember taking phone calls in between, working, at the gym, just ducking around the corner, trying to take calls, trying to, get some leads, trying to get people interested in buying and selling. But I was just always working when I first got out, which I feel like probably helped me out. But just kind of having that financial backing a little bit really, gave me that sense of security of, trying to make this work. Because, some people will just tell you like, hey, just jump into it. You'll, if you feel that sink or swim situation coming, you're going to make it work out. To me, I don't think that would have worked. I think I would have been too stressed trying to figure that out. So I just rather have put in, more time and effort, on my end to, get that up and going.
Where did you find the motivation to be working basically three jobs and, one of them
Yeah.
launching a brand new career?
A lot of it, I think, was just more from excitement as well. I knew like it was just all so new and so different. It was just me, my wife at the time. So, and she's very career, work focused as well. So we both kind of owed it to ourselves to kind of like figure out what we wanted to do. We didn't have any kids at the time, which I'm sure probably helped out as well. But I just knew like it's what I wanted to do. I knew I could do it. And I just, kept telling myself, like, just keep working at it, keep working at it. It'll pay off sooner or later. And it definitely
It,
did.
yeah, it's that real consistency
Hmm.
that pays off over time, because in real estate, and if anybody's listening to this that's thinking about getting into real estate, it doesn't happen right at the beginning. You have to
No.
consistently be putting in effort. And just like Adam said, you know, you have to work hard, and it's literally 7 days a week to get it going. And that can take a year, 2 years, 3 years to get
Yeah.
going. Now that you've been in business for a while, share with us your worst real estate moment. Tell us that
Um,
story.
I was honestly debating if I even wanted to talk about this. I don't think I've ever really, I don't think I've ever really told it. And it's honestly really embarrassing. And I'm okay talking about it now. I remember, what year was it? I think it was just when COVID happened. I was in school full time. I was working a part time job trying to get out of it. And then I was also doing real estate. And like real estate was just starting to take off for me. And I think that year I probably did 25 transactions for me, which was actually, quite a bit while I was doing all that full time. But I really dropped the ball on a house with a client, with the COVID restrictions. People were like, you can't come inside, you can't do this. And I wasn't really able to do all of my due diligence, on the property that I felt like I really needed to. You trusted people, took them for their word. And I had an inspector tell me it was actually about a termite situation underneath the house, and I took him for his word that it was taken care of, and it actually wasn't. And in the end, the client ended up looking under there after we had closed and had some, saw some issues, and it ended up being a very costly mistake on my end that I was kind of held responsible for. I look back at it and I'm like, man, how dumb was I to, first off, like in this business, you can't trust people. You hope that you can, but you also need to take, every precaution that you can as well to make sure you're covering your own butt. But it was a very costly mistake, and I felt really bad for the client because I try to do everything that I can to make sure that things are done correctly, and I really did drop the ball on that one. But it ended up costing me quite a bit in the end too, which kind of really sucked. But never will make that one ever again.
Yeah, we definitely learn along the way. And you know what? You're not
Yeah,
alone. Everybody
yeah,
has done something similar. And we learn, and you just do your best, I think, to rectify the mistake. Owning
yeah,
the mistake is something that's very, very big. A lot of people will try to dodge ownership of the
yeah,
mistake. It sounds like you took it head on and corrected it, right?
yeah.
So,
Very unfortunate, but hey, it happens to the best of us.
yep, I fully agree. It's unfortunate situations, and we just do our best to rectify it. So, if you could look back and give yourself some advice for when you first started out, what would you say to yourself?
Um, I think I wish I would have known more people in the industry when I first got in, or been able to like kind of talk with more people. But I honestly, I think I probably would have joined a team up front. I think that would have propelled my business a little bit quicker and a little bit faster. Where I kind of tried to take it on myself and kind of learn more of it. I kind of did learn at a little bit of a slower pace. I definitely do see the team aspect being a huge advantage for people coming into the uh, industry, with no prior knowledge or experience. But yeah, I wish I would have done something similar like that, or, just kind of gone under someone's wing who was really doing well in the business and just kind of learned from them. I think it would have gotten me places a little bit quicker and probably a little bit less mistakes along the way. But overall, I mean, I think I've done it right for the most part. So, but that's probably the one thing I kind of look back and think differently on.
Right. So we've all had them, the moment that it clicked, where it all made sense and you gained a sense of clarity. Tell us your aha moment that sticks with you and helps push you forward.
Yeah, I was thinking about this really hard, and I don't know if I had one exactly, other than like when I was doing all of these extra things on top of real estate. I think my aha moment was I just have because I was second guessing if I even wanted to do this. Coming out of school, like, was this sustainable? Could I actually, keep this momentum going? Like, I thought to myself, like, do I just need to go get a regular, job after all this is said and done and utilize my degree? Am I cut out for being able to, sustain everything that's going on? And it was just like one day I told I was like, you know what? Like, I have so much good momentum going. Like, get rid of the side jobs, finish up school, and, and take care of that. Like, I owed myself to get my degree. But I think that really ended up helping me out in the end, because I just didn't look back and was just able to, grow each year that I've been doing business. But yeah, I really second guessed it for a little while, but I'm glad that I didn't give up on it and actually, kept going. But yeah, I think giving up the side jobs and all that was just basically my aha, like, I can do this. Stop worrying about everything else and, just go for it.
Yeah, sometimes you need to burn the boats.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
Burn them behind you so that you only focus on one thing and you do that one thing very, very well.
Agreed. But it can be a scary thought. I mean, I was giving up, financial security. It's like we never know where our next, check's coming from sometimes. So, but you know what? Haven't looked back since.
Yeah, that's the scariest moment for most people, and that's what I think keeps a lot of great people away from our industry, is being 100% commission and not knowing where that next check will come from. But
yeah.
I really think with what we were talking about before, like consistently executing on things that will take you there, will in the end flatten that road out where you can find some consistency in pay.
Right.
So with that being said, can you open up your toolbox and share with our listeners what your marketing secrets are?
Yeah. So something that I've been really trying to work on this year and implementing, knowing I needed to take it to the next step. For so long, honestly, I really didn't see the value in a lot of the technology. I liked doing things the hard way. And then I started slowly learning, like, it's not sustainable. You can do it, but you're going to drive yourself crazy. And I needed to definitely kind of open up to it all, and was running very lean for a very long period of time. I just do a lot of networking and talking with people, referrals. I feel like my best leads and my best value usually come from just talking with people, and getting out and about and, trying to connect on that end. Some of the things that I really like using, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of people, like Follow Up Boss is, kind of my go-to for my CRM, the direct messaging campaigns. I like setting that stuff up, for lead sources, sending out automated text, stuff like that. That's really helpful for me. I would definitely say that that's probably my biggest one, and what I try to utilize. But I really try to just like the value of just talking with people, following up. I don't send out a lot of mailers. I don't do that kind of stuff. It kind of comes more just kind of genuine and very much just trying to get those relationships and talk with people more on a personal level.
Right. Yeah. And that's key. I think that's the fundamental of our business right there, is just relationships and how to do that at scale, and getting out and talking to people and making yourself known. Last year, my team, we switched up and we went to a tech stack of Ylopo with Follow Up Boss, and it's
Okay.
been
Yeah.
an absolute game changer. Follow Up Boss is a CRM, and I've used several over the years. It is by far the best CRM that say so. Do you do all of your automation in Follow Up Boss, or do you use things like ManyChat on your on Instagram or something like that?
Yeah, so a lot of it's through Follow Up Boss. Starting to utilize ManyChat at the moment. Haven't really probably used it to its full potential. I'm probably not even using Follow Up Boss to its full potential either. It's something that slowly starting to implement and try to work through everything that it does. The biggest things that we really like using is like referral sources and stuff like that, who end up coming like through my email or to my text. Like I have it set up to automatically reach out to the client and do like a really quick touch, a quick text, introducing myself, trying to kind of figure out what they look like. I try to do as many things that is going to be a quick touch to a new client or to a new referral. That kind of takes a little bit of time off of my schedule as well to but I found that to be really effective. But yeah, just trying to put all that stuff together for the most part. But like I said, I'm very much on the doing things harder than smarter right now, and I'm trying to change that setup. That's for sure.
Do you do any kind of lead generation online?
Right now, no. Definitely trying to get more onto the social media aspect. I think that's a
Right.
great option to touch as many people. I don't pay for leads. Don't a lot of it's just referrals, word of mouth, lenders I work with, stuff like that. But predominantly, that's kind of where I pick up my business.
What did you do when you first got in to generate leads? Was it just, again, just getting out there and talking?
It was, which was very slow. Living in a city that I didn't really know anybody in, so that took a little bit of time. Definitely relied on office leads quite often, which kind of come at a heavy price from time to time. Also had a relationship with a lender who I still do to this day, who sends me quite a few things, but that relationship kind of snowballed into others, because past clients and stuff like that that I've gained through there have referred me out. So it's definitely been a snowball effect over the years, but it was definitely a slow start. But no, never really paid for any lead sources. Didn't see the need, but yeah, a lot of word of mouth for the most part. But yeah, getting started was fairly slow. Definitely
Yeah.
relied a lot on office leads.
Right. I really think what you said there about the snowballing effect that referrals and stuff can happen.
Mhm.
I always preach to our team that no deal is too small, because you don't know who knows who and where it may lead. So taking
Yeah.
care of people, even though it may not financially benefit you, but you're still taking care of people, answering their questions, giving them information. You don't know who they know and where it can go.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like going off of that, I've had times where, something may have gone wrong during the transaction, wasn't our fault. More on the other side. I think I had a past client once, ended up buying them a refrigerator just because, felt bad for the situation that they were in. That refrigerator ended up turning into four or five other deals, based off of that, just with the family. So it's like, okay, spend a little bit of money and, make, I mean, I couldn't even tell you the return on that refrigerator, but actually funny enough, I actually own that refrigerator to this day. So it kind of came back around, but yeah, I mean, that refrigerator ended up, bringing me quite a few extra deals out of it. So I'm definitely I definitely agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Always leading with value is
Mhm.
is the key on everything,
Yeah.
even though it may not benefit you.
Yeah.
Taking
You never
care
know.
of people. So you now have a young family.
I do. Yeah. I've got a soon to be 2-year-old next this week on Saturday.
Wonderful. Now,
Yeah.
you know, like you said beforehand, when you got started, you didn't have kids, and that was a bit of a blessing. Now that you
Mm-hmm.
have kids, how do you try to balance your life with family as well as, pushing your real estate business forward?
Yeah, it's honestly it's very hard. I never couldn't really imagine, when starting this. I know people have families. I know they had stuff going on, but when you're kind of not in it and you kind of aren't experiencing it, you can't really get the full effect. It's definitely challenging. You have guilt from time to time of things that you're trying to accomplish, but you don't want to miss those opportunities with the family and all the other stuff that's going on. I've definitely gotten to a point where I can probably push things off that aren't important or that I don't need to be doing, or kind of have somebody cover down for me. But I don't think it's ever going to get any easier. But trying to manage, just trying to do the best that I possibly can, and also in the end of the day, knowing I'm doing it for them to someday not have to do it either. So don't have any secret sauce to it, but I just try my best. But
You
it's
just
difficult.
try to
It
manage
really
it on the go, right?
it is. I mean, I don't think anybody can say that they're doing it 100%. I really don't. It's difficult, but try our best.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all you can really do,
Yeah.
and it's very motivating. Also, when you have the little ones, and that's where you can
Mhm.
find that inspiration. That maybe when you're tired or something like that, you
It
can
is.
draw from that and say that I'm doing this for
Yeah.
them. Now, you also have a team now, a small team that
Mhm.
you can leverage other people's time to give you a little bit more freedom to spend with the family. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, I've kind of realized over the years that growing a big team really wasn't. I thought about it. It's just not really the trajectory that I see this kind of going. I just kind of want to have a couple agents, working with me who are kind of just as hungry as I am, or hungry as I was, starting my business off. But now, from time to time, if I've, got some stuff going on, I definitely do have the opportunities to, have people cover for me, with the opportunities of them being able to learn and, also make some money off the deal as well. So I've definitely found that very helpful. And hopefully, coming up, trying to take a couple trips that will make those vacations a little less stressful, knowing that I have somebody here to, do that for me. Because going on a vacation or leading up to one has always been, uh, you get that form of anxiety of like, oh my gosh, this is just going to burn while I'm gone. So, having that help definitely is great.
Yeah, I used to travel
Mhm.
with my laptop all the time, and I get
Yeah.
it. And I always say, if you want to get busy in the real estate business, plan
Yeah.
a vacation, because you will
Yeah.
be burning the barn down right up to the point in time that you step on that airplane. And then when you get off, you'll still be working.
100%. I mean, I think there's been times where I was like crossing international waters or something like that on airplane, Wi-Fi, trying to get a deal in or something like that. And, as soon as you crossed, it's out. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to get this in. We had all this time. I still got another 2 hours on this flight. You're panicking, thinking, what's going. Yeah, it's been there, done that. It's not fun, but that's our job.
Yeah, that's life. That's life in this
Yeah.
business. I was reminded today just about things like that of when I first got into the business, and I had a mentor in my city here that has been in the business. He was in the business before he passed for 30 some odd years. And he said that, this isn't a job, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that you're building your life intertwined with this business that we call real estate. And you just
Yeah.
make the best of it, right? And I was
Yeah.
reminding my team today, because we've been really busy and doing really well. don't burn out. If you can take off a couple hours, take off a couple hours in the middle of the day. Don't feel like you're constrained to having to work from 9 to 5 or beyond that.
Yeah. Burnout is real. I've been there multiple times. I think I was even at the burnout mode January 1st of this year, honestly, just because of the way, Q4 ended up going. So it definitely happens.
Yeah, definitely. So what's the one thing that has you most excited about your real estate business?
Just kind of seeing where it's going to, I would say, go in the next couple years. I've kind of been on a journey myself to acquire properties of my own, which has been going fairly well. I had a goal, I think it was a property a year for the next 10 years, which I think I could potentially knock that out this year. We'll see if that's, an opportunity, but ended up, doing it a lot quicker than I thought. And I actually made that goal a year ago or, maybe 2 years ago, but I'm kind of just excited to kind of see, where, it's always nerve wracking, with everything that's going on in our business, the transitions, the ebbs and flows of everything that changes constantly. Shoot, just me getting in 2017, the amount of change that has happened just in that amount of time. So yeah, it's always revolving.
Well, it doesn't stop. I've been selling for 18 years now, and every year it seems like something new or something's added in. And of course, between our two countries, it's always a little bit different. So give our listeners 3 actionable takeaways that you think every agent should be doing in their business right now.
Yeah. So I would say, I like to kind of go back to things that I've done that I found, success in, but I would say leveraging relationships 100%, would be my number one. That's how I grew my business. That's where it kind of came from. So I 100% believe in it. 2, I would say find your niche or niche, whatever, however you want to, call it, but find something that, you find joy in, because I've revolved my business around, veterans and active military. It was something that I could relate to, people that I knew in the, in that realm. So that's kind of how I built out my business, and it worked really well for me. And 3, the third one, I would say, for me, the growing aspect, I was always afraid to kind of take that leap before it was really needed. And everyone always told me that before you think that you need, say an assistant or a transaction coordinator or whatnot, always be thinking about doing it way beforehand. And sometimes you just kind of have to take that leap, because I have felt that by not doing so and being a little bit scared of doing so, I've kind of held myself back a little bit, where I probably would have been ready a lot sooner. But yeah, I think those are probably the 3 things that I would take away if I could go back and change. I 100%.
Now, you guys down in the States are seeing a massive change in how you do business with with what's going on with NAR. Mm-hmm. What do you see in the future for organized real estate? What are our challenges?
So North Carolina is a little interesting because what they're proposing has always been a thing. Every seller, I wouldn't say pretty much every buyer, but there's been times where it's come up, but I'm always negotiating, commission with someone. So to me, nothing's really changing. I think there's going to be a lot more upfront talk about it. I think a little bit more people are probably going to be a little bit more privy to that information now. And I've already been having those conversations. And once I have, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It doesn't sound like much is really changing. The only thing I'm a little worried about is, and it doesn't sound like you guys have it in Canada, but with our VA loans, it's a little bit different since that is predominantly a lot of my business. Veterans or active military aren't allowed to pay out-of-pocket commissions. So there's certain costs that a veteran or active military is not allowed to pay with their VA loan. So I'm a little worried if, it becomes more of a trend where sellers don't want to pay commissions. We're really going to force, and especially in North Carolina, we have a really heavy population of military and veterans as well, that could potentially cause some issues on that end. But as far as now, I'm not really seeing too much of a change with that. But that's a little bit more of my worry come July if that's actually going to take effect.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see. I think eventually Canada will probably go in. I know there's a couple things that are in the works right now, but yeah, it's just going to be a different way to do business, and we're going to have to show our value up front to on the buyer side, on the buyer representation side. So
Yeah,
I think it's just another thing that we're going to have to overcome.
agreed. I think for newer agents, it's definitely going to be a lot more difficult trying to show your value when you may not have any experience at the moment. And I think probably leveraging teams, your company, people that you have is probably going to be the way to go. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. But we'll pivot. We'll figure it out.
Yep, like we always do. So, in my experience, realtors are a really giving bunch. What are you doing to give back to your community?
Ooh, so like I said, I do a lot in the military realm. On the VA side, I try to. A lender that I work with, we actually have put together. It's like a veteran social that we try to do every so often. At least once a month. We've been a little bit behind right now, but we try to get together and we've tried to build out a community of either past, prior, active military right now that we've worked with, or just people that we know in the area. But it's more kind of like a get together for anybody who has, who is in the military or is in the military, kind of just like a networking event for the most part. But there's no agenda to it. It's just, hey, come out, enjoy a beer, hang out at a brewery here locally, get to know everyone. And that's kind of how we've been trying to grow, just, local outreach and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much the time that I've had and whatnot with my day to day. But yeah, just trying
That
to put
sounds
together.
great.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of great people from it, a lot of connections. People have met, people that they didn't know, gotten job opportunities from it as well. So, I mean, that was the whole point, just kind of get together and, bring people together who are, like-minded or have similar past.
Yeah. It's funny how that works when you can be the conduit of people getting together and exchanging, jobs and information and things like that. I think that really is a great role for a real estate agent to be. So up next, my favorite part, the rapid fire round. Are you ready for it?
I am. Bring it on.
What is the one piece of technology that you can't do without? And you can't say your MLS or your cell phone.
Okay. I would definitely, let's see. I don't know. I feel like I could probably live without any of it. Honestly, sometimes I wish I didn't have my cell phone. But right now, I'd probably go to Follow Up Boss with my CRM. I've really become reliant upon it. Definitely need it for my day to day. If anything, if I couldn't pick my cell phone, it would definitely have to be my CRM.
What is the best book you've ever read?
Man, I'm not much of a reader. Definitely do a lot of audio books and stuff. Like I
call that reading as well.
Yeah, I try to maximize my time when I'm in the car, especially if I'm going somewhere. So I do audios, podcasts. I just like listening to what the day to day, like what current events, stuff like that's going on that. So I wouldn't really say a best book, but I just try to immerse myself in all that kind of stuff, especially real estate related. So I wouldn't say I have one in particular, but I definitely go more on like the podcast and the audio books.
What is the best business advice you've ever received?
Let's see, man. This one kind of comes to mind is, not working in your business, but working on your business. For so long, I just felt like I was always working in it and never trying to expand it and grow it. So right now, definitely working on it and not trying to be in it so much.
Imagine you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world identical to Earth, but you knew no one. You have still all the experience and knowledge you currently have, your food and shelter is taken care of, but all you have is a laptop and $500. What would you do to resurrect your real estate business over the next 7 days?
I would probably try to wholesale properties. I think that's probably the quickest way to grow capital in a short period of time. So more than likely, I would just be cold calling, probably distressed properties, properties that may be sitting for 30 days or more, stuff along those lines. But I think that would probably be the quickest way to kind of grow my business in the least amount of time.
Give us a quote that has guided you in your life, and then we will say goodbye.
Oh, man, I couldn't come up with one. I've never really lived by a quote per se. That's a tough one. Yeah, I can't think of one. I really don't. Yeah, I really don't have one, unfortunately.
Well, you'll have to get back to us on that one.
Yeah,
I'll let you off the hook here, Adam.
Yeah.
So one of the big things that we like to do on this podcast is we love referrals. We love to be a referral engine. How can somebody get a hold of you if they have somebody coming in or out of Raleigh?
Yeah, so I'm with EXP, so you can definitely find me online through EXP. My Instagram as well. It's Adam _ Noe. For some reason, I guess Noe was taken. Funny enough, but yeah, you can find me on Instagram for sure. Those are probably two of the best places. Also reach out to me. Phone number, email. But yeah. You can find me online easily. I'm around.
Beautiful. And to save everybody any trouble, I'll put all those links in the show notes, and you can find them there if you have somebody that you would love Adam to take care of. I'm sure all of us, we love referrals in our business. So send them all to Adam. Adam, thank you so very much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate it, and I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Total Agent Access. Head on over to iTunes, hit subscribe. While you're there, leave us a review. 1 star is okay, but 5 stars is even better.